Hello scientists, welcome back to the facility. I'm Zegius Wolf, and today we're going to be checking out Abiotic Factor. So it's a game that's in early access on Steam, and is being developed by the folks over at Deep Field Games. It's a semi-based building survival crafting game. It's heavily influenced by games like Half-life, and also systems in things like Project Zomboid. It's currently sitting at 96% positive ratings over on Steam, and it's receiving constant updates with a 1.0 release scheduled for winter if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, or summer if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm going to spend about half an hour to 45 minutes checking out the game today, and if that's something that appeals to you, then the link for the game will be down in the doobly-doo to the Steam page. I may turn this into a longer Let's Play series, I'm not sure at this stage, but if you like the video, then like the video and hit subscribe. Helps me stay motivated to make content on a regular basis, and it helps the algorithm get my video out to more people, so that'd be appreciated. Anyway, with all of that, let's jump in. So we're going to come in and start a brand new game. Now, there is the advanced settings here. I'm not gonna, YouTube. Actually, no, let's go with YouTube. YouTube. There we go. So I'm going to go into modify settings. The only thing that I'm going to change in here is just one element of the game that I don't particularly enjoy, which is the research minigames. After a little, leave it on for your first experience if you want to. After a little while, I find it to be cumbersome to go through and do. But that's really a personal choice. But any of these options in here, you can actually change with a pre-existing game as well. So, no huge deal. If you like it, keep it in there. If you don't, get rid of it. But you can change all the options in here to make the game harder or easier for yourself. None of this prevents you from unlocking any achievements if you're worried about that kind of stuff. But with that, let's jump in. So the first thing we're going to do is character creation. I keep it pretty simple. I'll keep it pretty simple for this playthrough. I'm going to go with the lab assistant, but there's a bunch of different options here that give you different skill sets, as you can see, and different starting points that you can then spend. I'm going to go with the lab assistant, start with 10 points. And I'm going to drop that 10 points straight into the fanny pack, because it gives me a couple of extra slots for inventory, and I chew up inventory space like it's going out of fashion. I may do a video later on looking at different possible builds of positive and negative traits that you can look at depending on the style that you want to play, but that's something that I might do in a future video. Let's get started. So we start by spawning into the cafeteria area in the office sector.
I don't think
I'm going to skip past a lot of this story stuff, mainly just because you can go through and do that at your own pace, and I want to try and avoid as many spoilers as I can. So what we'd normally do is come over here and check this and see that it's locked, and there's the bathroom there that you can check out. Come over here, just sort of exploring around, and that's locked. We'll come up in here. Now, this is a game where you will be picking up a lot of stuff, and as you pick up more things, you'll see new recipes pop up in the top right-hand corner. It's really important early on to grab as many resources as you can. You're going to be using resources all the time to be crafting different things, because that is a big cycle of the game, is getting resources, crafting new things so that you can get further in the facility. Come through and pick up this stuff. So I'm in the habit of going through and dismantling any of these vent covers when I can. And what I'm actually going to do is come into the crafting menu and just craft some nets. So, again, a lot of this I'll leave you to go through and read for yourself. But what we'll see here is sort of our first little aspect of the game is we've got a stationary enemy here. So this is the carbuncle. So, and the influence from here is from Half-Life is very clear. So it's a stationary creature, but like when it notices you, it tries to suck you in. So, you know, and that mechanic is dating right back to Half-Life. So again, some of those influences there, and again, like the graphical influences was pretty clear. So as you go through and get exposed to more things, your compendium gets updated, and all of this blacked out stuff starts to get opened up, and you can unlock more information as you go through the game. So again, I'm not going to spend any time covering any of that, just because it's something that is part of the fun of the game, is going through and exploring some of that stuff. So I'm going to leave that for you to go through and do if you play the game. So that enemy that I just killed there was a pest, so they're a very common enemy in the game. There'll be some later on, but the influence of Half-Life on those as well is pretty clear. Like, they line up quite well with the headcrabs from Half-Life. So again, just the game wearing some of its influences on its sleeve. We'll grab some of these. Now, I've picked up a screwdriver. That's going to be fairly important fairly soon. It's going to allow us to go through and actually craft a crafting bench and build a couple of other things, which is going to be pretty important for us moving forward. So now these get highlighted early on, just in this little area. They don't get highlighted later, but it's basically to get you to investigate them, to know that you can dismantle a whole bunch of stuff. And pipes and valves and gauges and stuff can get pretty important for crafting later on in the game as well. So you sort of see how it's jumping and leaping at me. So similar to like the head crabs in Half-Life, you know, they'll sort of come after you a bit. So there's definitely a certain nostalgia to this for anyone who is maybe a bit of an older generation and did play like Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 when those games came out, and poured a lot of time into those games. They were really good. So, you know, we may never get Half-Life 3, but you know, this is definitely scratches some of that same vibe. So now the other big thing that you'll start to notice when you go through and play the game is that there's a lot of stuff that you can break down or package. So the office chair, for example, here, I can package it, and it gives me 75% that it might break, or it'll, you know, get bundled up into a package that I can carry. So that didn't. But what's actually happened there is, in it breaking down, it's given me items, which has unlocked new recipes for me to craft. Again, interacting with stuff will sometimes unlock new recipes. That's a fairly common theme as well. And all of this gets unlocked in here, and it all gets broken down by category, which makes life a little bit easier. Sort of going through and playing the game, it gives you a little bit more to work with. So we're going to come in here, so know that there's... I already knew that he was floating around there, so I'm just going to grab this, grab that off the stove before it actually burns. Let's get the clothing items from him, put those on, put the gloves on. Stomp on these little guys. You can kill them with weapons and stuff later on, but for now that's not really an issue. Yeah. Pick up the cafeteria tray, get the knife. So the knife is a fairly important item as well. It allows us to actually go through and carve up enemies and get meat from them, which will be fairly handy moving forward. So now you'll notice.
Over here.
Hell, let's go deal with this guy first. Knock him out.
Oh, you're new. Looks like that little pest damaged the power system. Can you get someone to fix it? But hurry, would you? I'm not enjoying standing around out here. It
So
was hours last
you can
time. I don't feel safe at all.
you can interact with people and then just walk away from them, and they'll keep talking to you, and you'll end up hearing it through a radio or a headset or whatever the case may be. So you'll come across TVs from time to time that'll sort of talk about different concepts in the game and give you ideas of what you can do. Again, that's just talking about setting up a bench and how all that works. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to walk you through it anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. Now, we've got cabinets here, which, when cabinets are empty, they'll actually be open, and that's pretty true for all containers, with the exception of stuff like bins, which I don't think show it, but like any cabinets or filing cabinets or anything like that will actually show that they're empty when you leave them open. So for now, I need to break this down because I'm going to need some of the components in these computers so that I can actually build some stuff. I'm going to break this down as well because this, so you see there that instead of it breaking down, it actually packaged, and that's because it was successful on packaging, so I can move it somewhere else. Now what I'm going to do is actually set up the crafting bench. So the crafting bench is going to be needed for basically any big ticket items or any complex items that you want to craft in the game. So placement can be a little bit funny, depending on how exact you want to be. I like to be fairly tucked into the corner there, just to give me as much space as possible. Now you'll notice that it's blueprinted at the moment, so I can't actually use it, and this is where the screwdriver comes in handy. So I'm actually standing in the blueprint, but by doing this, it'll actually construct it. Now you'll notice there's a yellow plug there, and what that actually means is it's still not powered, so any of this stuff that I would normally want to be able to build, I can't, because there's no power to it. So that's what we've got the power socket for. Now, the power socket actually only extends a certain distance, so you sort of notice once I reach that max distance, it tells me so. Now when you're normally building and placing stuff, there'll be a blue bubble that sort of appears to show you the range that power sockets will naturally, or power sources will naturally extend to. You can extend it beyond that, but there's a little bit of process there. And now, because this is powered, we actually have more things that have unlocked, like makeshift backpack and those kinds of things. So I'm not going to worry about the makeshift backpack because I actually know where to get a better backpack than that, and I want to save those resources. So now the scientist that was stuck behind the door was talking about repairing the door, so we need this energy brick to do this. So we've got that now. I'm going to dump some of this other stuff that I'm not gonna need. Actually, that I might. And I want to upgrade and get some better weapons. So we've got that. What else do I have? What else am I working with? I'm not going to make that. So the vacuum's a really handy resource for being able to pick up items. What else? Yeah, I'm going to make some more of these. So I've now got a shield. Now the shields are actually really handy because they block any incoming damage that's not splash damage or energy based damage. So they'll even block bullets. The only difference between different types of shields is their durability, and some shields give you different buffs. Like they might set an enemy on fire when that enemy melee attacks you, or whatever the case may be. Um, so for now, I'm just going to dump the rest of this because I don't really need any of this stuff. I'll dump one of the knives, dump the fry pan. We've got the cooked pork chop. Now you'll notice that if I sort of stand over here somewhere that you can see it better, you'll notice that there's this little white specks on the screen going back and forth. That's actually denoting that I'm being exposed to radiation. And you'll see here the raw carbuncle is emitting very low radiation. So there's a radiation counter in the game that's always in the background, and if you're being exposed to radiation, that'll slowly tick up. So given enough time, I'll actually get a debuff, or I'll get a notification in the health issues that I've been exposed to radiation and I'm starting to feel nauseous. And that can actually progress and become worse the longer and the worse radiation that you're being exposed to. So I'm just going to tuck that in kitchen cabinet for now. Let's get rid of that bio scrap. And I'm just going to line up my inventory a little bit better. Okay, and so in the beginning, we'll occasionally have tech items respawn. Now, there's a reason for this. It actually lends itself to some of the stuff that you need to craft early on, and without the ability to do that, you might get soft blocked by the game. So that stuff will respawn until I actually open up the door that's out there. And you'll note, like, it's 7 a.m. on the watch, and I knew that it was going to be 7 a.m. That time actually doesn't change until you open up the main area with the battery as well. So there's just subtle little things in the game that you don't need to worry about, but they've thought about in the game design. So now I am missing coil that I would need to make a battery, but that's okay. I can sort that out later. Alright, so for now, I'm just going to come back out here and sort the scientist out.
You need to open the door now.
So this is a peccary that you can actually throw. He's going to charge me. You can actually throw the nets at, and that'll lock them in place for a little bit. You can stop their charges by doing that as well. So like that actually prevents him from charging me, which is a good little bit of info to know. So now the knife that I picked up before, I can actually use this on the creature that I just killed and get raw resources from it. Now we'll just point out here that all this stuff is does have radiation coming off of it as well, so something to be conscious of. You don't want too much of this just sitting free in your containers and inventory space early on, because that all that radiation can build up fairly easily, and that sort of puts us in a pretty bad spot.
Attention. Enhanced security protocols.
Yeah, hey Warren.
Look, I don't know what's going on.
That's Warren. So he stays in the security in the security booth the entire time. But he's an NPC that you can end up trading with, and he'll pop something in here in a minute where you can drop items in there and actually trade for stuff out of here. Actually, I might come back here and show you how that works. So Warren, to begin with, will actually trade root beer, beetroot. So he'll trade root beer for peas. So what I can do is come over here with the beetroot. Beetroot, God, what is it with me and beetroot? You can come over here with the root beer, hit G, that'll drop it, and that'll actually trade it with canned peas. Now, canned peas are actually a fairly decent item. They can be used to restore your health, as you see just there. They can also be used later on for other things, but I'm not going to jump into that. Now, I've just picked up the first map, which is in the office sector here, level 1. There are various maps that you can pick up as you go through the game. These are all static maps. These aren't going to move. You're not going to get icons or anything like that. It's up to you to orientate and work out how they work and where you are. So I'm down here in the plaza at the moment. But once you wrap your head around that, it's fairly straightforward. Now, I've got a torch here as well. And basically, there's a lot of items in the game use energy or battery charge. You'll see a yellow bar down in the hot bar underneath the torch. Basically, as I use the torch, that's going to decrease. And once all of that empties, I won't be able to use the torch anymore. Charging stations are where you come and fill these up. Now, as it says, available all hours. So even when the power gets shut off, you can use these. I'm going to charge the flashlight, and you'll see this down here. When that fills up to blue, when it's more empty, it's red. But when it fills up to blue, the item's completely recharged, and we're all set to go again. So now, what I'm going to do from here, I actually want some computer resources so that I can make some batteries. So I'm going to come back in here, dump some of this stuff. I'm going to have... So, get rid of some of this. Okay, so I'm actually out of spaces to store stuff, so what I might do is see what I need. So I need wood planks and plastic scrap to make some crates, so let's go and get some wood and some plastic. So wood is readily available by breaking down most items. Okay, we found some glue, which lets us make the pipe club as well. And a hammer. Hammer's a great little item. It lets you repair any sort of objects that have been damaged for whatever reason. So, like the table here has taken a bit of damage, so I can come in and just easily repair that. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. And what I'm going to do is actually get these that I need and make the pipe club, because this is slightly more damaged than the desk leg. I actually want to use the desk leg for something else anyway, so I will get to that in a little bit. Okay, cool. So gonna head out again. I might just see if I can dump some of that stuff. No. So by opening the menu, by opening an inventory and hitting Q, you can actually automatically shift anything that you've got that's already in a container. You can sort of auto shift it over, which is a pretty handy little feature. It allows you to quickly get stuff out of your inventory and sort it. So inventory management in this game is a pretty important concept, and if you do it poorly, it can add a lot of time to the things that you're trying to accomplish. So, okay, we're going to come through here. Actually, no, we might come back this way. I'm going to come around to where the data farm is. So I already know where a lot of the things are in this area, because I've got about 100 hours in the game. So we're going to head up to the data farm. The other thing about this game is it's important to pay attention to signage and that kind of stuff. It'll actually it'll actually tell you where you do need to go. I'm not going to talk to them. Actually, no, I will. They'll tell us one or two
I
things.
have seen death. I locked it in there, along with everyone else.
So there's stuff roaming around that's dangerous to us, obviously. So now we'll pick that up. So again, there's stuff all over the place that you can run around and pick up. Here we're going to head into the data farm. Data farm, data farm. And here's where we're going to get access to a lot of the electronics that we're going to need. And I've got a map over here, so I'll grab that. And that just jumps up in the same spot. So we can sort of see here between this map and this map where everything is. Again, this is sort of one of those things that you need to spend a little bit of time wrapping your head around how it works, and familiarize yourself with everything. But once you do, you should be fine. So it's the security bot. So these come online at night. They are not friendly to us. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh, got him. Get in here. So it's not uncommon for stuff to be hidden away or lurking corners or ambush you. We've already seen that once or twice so far. Okay, so as you can see, going through and picking up stuff lets me do more. I'm going to break down some of this because I know that it's got electrical components that I need, like that coil, which lets me make more things. Now you'll see that I've also gained some skills, basically just by doing. So this is our skills list. So by going through and attacking things with blunt weapons, I increase the blunt skill, which, you know, all of this is pretty straightforward in its description. As you go through and do more, you get better, and you can unlock additional skills or additional traits, and sort of improve in different areas. So, okay. Over here. Now I do have to be slightly careful because I know there's some peccaries around here from time to time. And yeah, see our inventory is full already. I'm gonna actually might eat the food that I've got. Yeah, so there's a peccary just over there. You can hear it and see it now. So okay. Let's break this down. Okay, come over here. So there's a lot of this game that is a bit of a farming cycle. I'm going to drop that bio scrap actually. I'd prefer to actually have the metal. Metal is a fairly important resource in this game. Okay, I think that covers everything that I want. Well, actually, I'm gonna drop the glass for now. I actually want the rubber ball bands because I want to be able to make a crossbow. Okay, so same. I'm gonna drop those components just so I can grab that stuff because I know that I need a few of these. Now you'll occasionally come across money in the game, and that'll let you buy root beer and other bits and pieces from like vending machines. So it is important to pick that stuff up when you do see it. I can hear a peccary. Okay, just over there. That's all good. Okay. If I can get... I think that's everything that I need. Okay, that should be everything that I need to make a crossbow. Let me have a quick look. Yep, so I got everything I need to make a crossbow. I'm going to go back and make a crossbow, just so we can see how ranged weaponry works. Let's run down here. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that it says that I'm in a safe place, and that I'm safe, relatively speaking. Relatively speaking. All that means is that enemies won't spawn naturally in this sort of bubble that the crafting bench creates. Which is a handy little bit of information to know. And it sort of means that you can go through and set up multiple crafting stations in a small area, and it'll give you a nice sort of safe zone, again, relatively speaking, where you can make sure that you don't have to worry too much about stuff spawning around you. Okay, so I'm going to dump some of this. Actually, what do we need to make a battery? Grab that and a tech scrap. Okay, I'll grab the tech scrap. So let's craft that. And I'm gonna need some more metal scrap. Okay, there we go. So we'll craft that. So now I've got a battery. And what I can actually do is come down here. I drop the battery there. And plug that in. So when the power does go off in a little bit, because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment, the power normally goes off at 9 PM. And normally, if that power socket was just plugged into the crafting bench, the power would go off and I would lose that home sweet home little buff that we've got down there, which, would be all kinds of problems. I'm gonna see if I can... no, I'm going to need wood. That's perfectly fine. I can go and do that. Oh, no, I want that in my inventory. Now, as you go through and play the game, there's going to be a little bit of management that's needed for your items. First thing that I'm gonna go and do is get a bigger bag, which I know where to get one from. And I'm feeling a bit tired apparently, so that's alright. Got enough time that I can go and get what I need first. So I'm gonna run up here and come around to where the gym and the swimming pool is. So from here, so there are crates all around the facility that you can break, which will typically give you wood and other items depending on what the outside of the crate is like and the area that you're in.
Hello?
I'll come up here. Hello, Dr. Shepard.
I thought this might be a safe place to wait until they sorted this out.
And here's
whatever this is.
that bag
Looks like
that
I
was
was
after.
wrong. That useless rent-a-car on the plaza said to go through manufacturing, then head for the surface tunnel, I suppose. But that's a whole sector away. If they think I'm walking all that way through their toxic machine shops, they can think again.
Okay, so again, we've gone through and picked up some stuff. Oh, I missed that. Now we can actually see the water cooler here, so these are super important because water is, aside from having to stay hydrated, water's used to clean yourself, it's used in cooking, it's used for your plants, and so early on water can be a pretty important thing that you need to get a hold of and there's not a lot of clean water sources around. So having a way to store water, but also make water, can be really important as well. So, okay, so I'm gonna pop that down there in the corner. So now I've got clean drinking water ready to go. Again, let's come back and dump some of this stuff. Now, should be able to add some, there we go, plastic supplies. So, using these, I can actually craft this and pop it down there. Now, again, with anything that we build, pretty much, we're going to have to construct it with the screwdriver, and that'll increase our construction XP. A great thing about any storage that you construct is you can actually name it all stuff, and when you do that, it'll say it on the front, so it's really handy. And you'll notice here that you can see there's nothing in it, so it actually sits open, but we can dump a bunch of stuff in there, and that'll close. That's a good way to just stay on top of inventory and storage. Okay, so what else are we going to do? So from here, we can sort of start to flesh things out a little bit, and start to craft some of the items that we need, and some of the weapons, and you know, we can make a fishing rod to do fishing. I actually have another video on the guide for fishing, which is worth checking out if you're not sure how fishing works. So, but yeah, this is sort of the basic cycle of the game. You go out, you get resources, you come back to your base, you craft better things to then be able to go out and get further into the environment. Oh, I think I accidentally... no, what I'm going to need to do... there we go. So the other thing that you can do, which I should mention, is you can right-click and lock items in place. So basically what happens is when you've got items in a box, you can hit Q, and that'll transfer everything over if it's already in there. But if it's in one of these locked spots, then that won't transfer over, and that's really handy to, you know, if you've got like an equipment or an ammo box and you want to dump spare ammo in there but keep stuff on you, you can just do that. Now you can actually unfavorite and favorite by right-clicking on it if there's something already in the box, but if there's nothing in it, you can just right-click on it. Nice and simple. So this is our crossbow that we've got now. So I'm going to go out and hunt one or two things and show you how this works. Now, you'll see that there's a small blue dot there, which is our aiming reticule. And the further I get away, like, it goes from the blue dot to a red dot to let me know that's actually outside my range of sort of competence, which is what this accuracy bar is. As this fills up, I can get aim further and further away, and it'll stay blue. So getting accuracy is, building up accuracy is fairly straightforward. You just gotta find stuff and shoot it. So and we can also, like before we were stumping on these with the net, but now I can actually cut them up, and sometimes I'll still get bioscrap. But if I'm lucky, let me see if I can get around to the other side. Oh, and sometimes you can get your ammo back as well. So, I got bioscrap from that as well. Well, but yeah, sometimes you'll get organs or meat or whatever that you can cut up and use. So there's also these floating around which play recordings of like logs of stuff that's happening. I'm not going to play that because again, that sort of is all part of the story and the lore, and I'll leave that for you to discover if you want to go through and play. Got that. So we'll head back down and show you how to sort sleeping, because that can be a pretty impactful part of the game as well. We'll come in here. So now you can typically sleep on a bed, which we can make through the crafting bench. There we go. So we can make it through the crafting bench by gathering together resources. Or you can also sleep on long couches. Now it just brings up this mini game where you've just got to jump over the pests. And this just sort of helps you go through the sleep cycle. Pretty straightforward. Not a lot of time passes when you are sleeping, so that's not a huge issue. But yeah, so this sort of wraps up the basic play cycle. There's a lot more lore, and there's a lot more gameplay, and there's a lot more things to dive into. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here because this is a good starting point. And it's an absolutely wonderful game, particularly once you get into it and you start unlocking more of the lore and more of the story and unlocking more of the features. There's a lot more to the game than what I've shown here. So I may go on and do more videos that are sort of a let's play, because it is a fascinatingly fun game, and there's a huge community getting behind it. Over on the Discord, there's a wiki that's being constantly updated by a lot of us in the community, and so yeah, it's worth checking out. I don't know how much it is in other countries. In Australia, it's about $35, I think. Between sort of $35 to $40. So it's not, AAA game prices, but it's not the cheapest game either. But you know what? I've already put 150 hours into the game. It's an amazing, fun little game that is constantly being developed, and you're gonna get a lot of hours out of it. You can play it multiplayer, so you can play it with friends, and there's a bunch of items that are specifically based around multiplayer, like walkie-talkies and being able to revive other players and that kind of stuff. So it's well worth a look and quite a bit of fun. So yeah, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. I might do 1 or 2 videos on different class builds in the future as well. But yeah, really simple. I got a couple of other videos at the moment as well. One is a top 10 things I wish I knew before I started Abiotic Factor, so that'll be right here. And I've got another video which is a basics on fishing, and I'll have that here. So click on either of those to check those out, get a little bit of advice before you start the game. Sort of leave a like, hit the subscribe button. Again, that helps me out massively. And look, until next time, don't forget to be awesome.